All right, well, welcome back to our Unlocking Vertex AI series. I'm excited to have with me Paul Jellison today. He's AI go-to-market lead at Google. We're going to jump into everything Gemini Enterprise, especially coming off the back of Google Next. But I think first, Paul, if you want to do a quick intro and into the conversation.
Thanks, Caleb. Thanks for having me. My name is Paul Jellison. I'm on the AI go-to-market team at Google Cloud, which I've been on this team. We formed it about 2 years ago, essentially once we launched Gemini as our frontier model. But I've been at Google Cloud for 8 years. And if we go even further back, I kind of started at AT&T when people were starting to use things like BlackBerries and iPhones. People fought us then. And then I kind of worked through the whole cloud revolution at Rackspace and Gartner and Google Cloud. Also, when people were saying, hey, we have our own data center. Oh, yeah. Why do we need to move to the cloud? I think we know with the past technological revolutions, those are table stakes today. And I think that's where we're at with artificial intelligence.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, I'm really glad that you took time for us because there is so much buzz coming out of Google Next last week around everything Gemini, but especially Gemini Enterprise. And I'd love to dig into, maybe we start with kind of what's new. Were there any big announcements last week? And then we can kind of go from there on kind of what you're seeing from an adoption standpoint, how people are using this. I'd love to just kind of pick your brain since you're on the forefront of this.
Yeah. So we did just come off Google Cloud Next last week in Vegas. We made 240 product announcements. So we made a lot of announcements. But I would say the major one is really just kind of the unification of everything moving towards Gemini Enterprise. And so those are the two key words here. All of our products, every solution that we deliver to our customers are now powered by Gemini. And then the enterprise part is how do we make this work inside of work? You mentioned the name of this podcast has Vertex in it. So one of the announcements is Vertex AI, which has been our machine learning and generative AI kind of platform within Google Cloud, has evolved.
Oh, great.
And we've named it Gemini Enterprise Agent Platform. So going forward, that is the place where agents will be built, scaled, governed, and optimized. So we're creating that platform so that agents can proliferate through enterprises.
That's awesome. Well, you're going to make me have to find a new name for the podcast now. So you
can keep it now.
Yeah. Within that stack then, so agent development kit, if I think about like the agentic development of where we see Gemini starting to get used, I'll say custom, agents, that kind of stuff. Is that all going to be rolled into this agent builder suite then?
Yeah, that's exactly right. So we believe, right now agents are more, you prescribe to them, you tell them what to do.
Yeah.
When you want it right now. But what's happening is we're moving into long running agents. Okay. That can do tasks in the background based off of schedules or triggers. And so where today enterprises might have a couple agents or 10 agents, we really see a world where there will be hundreds, if not thousands of agents. So how do you manage that at scale across large organizations? That's what the Gemini Enterprise Agent Platform is designed to do.
Okay.
To build custom agents, use agents that Google have built or agents that our partners have built. Everything can be managed from one kind of control tower.
Gotcha. Okay.
The platform.
Well, I know that was a big topic of conversation last week because I was sitting down with different companies and different people at Google Cloud as well. But just this idea of agent orchestration becoming an entirely new strategy that everybody has to deal with. That it's easy to go build a single agent like you're talking about. Prescriptive, it's a task agent. I ask it a question or I give it permission to go do something and it does it. So I wouldn't even call it human in the loop. I'd say it's human driven, agentic type stuff. But to your point, you're going to have hundreds of agents. It's going to be paying attention to a lot more information. It could be proactive in nature. And so being able to manage all that, no one was trying to build a strategy for that 2 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah, we're kind of moving to this place where we're delegating work to swarms of agents. And
Right.
so this concept, orchestration, that's really key here. Gemini has become more capable. It can reason, plan, it can understand how to use tools, therefore take actions. And so what we're seeing is this new kind of architecture where Gemini, you give it a task, and then it orchestrates across these other agents
Mm.
to go complete the task. So it's kind of calling on other agents, whether that's within the Gemini ecosystem or whether that's other agents from other software vendors
Yeah.
or partners.
Okay. Because I do think it's Google Cloud has taken a bit of a unique approach in that you guys seem very open ecosystem to your point on, we're going to live in an agent to agent world. Other software platforms are going to have their own native agents that can go do things, but the ability to connect across what is native to Google, what's native to pick the CRM or the ERP application or whatever this other thing is that may have its own technology, but you still need to be able to easily make the connection into these systems to be able to go complete multiple tasks or run entire business process, right?
That's absolutely right. And one of the key announcements we made within the platform is something called the Agent and Tool Registry.
Mm.
So we are building for a world where our platform can list and enumerate, and you can watch and monitor and govern every agent within your enterprise in
Wow.
one place. Because we see this AI sprawl, because every company is building agents and talking about AI and building these things, it's become unruly and difficult for enterprises to manage at scale. And so our vision is absolutely to be that one place where you can manage every agent.
That's awesome. I'm gonna have to dig into that one because putting the strategy around that now, I think when we kind of get into this whole like AI readiness or the maturity model within organizations, that's going to be clearly foundational to what people are going to need to be able to do. So one of the things, because you're talking about, the architecture and where this is going, I'd love to get your thoughts on where you're seeing companies be successful with this right now. Because one of the things, kind of again, we being T-Tech, I spend a lot of my time in the contact center around that space. And it's a fairly mature use cases of where AI, generative AI, the large language models, they're all getting used. It's very conversational. There's the assist side of it. There's some analytics. But as you start to, as you said, sprawl out into the organization, it's a little bit less defined. And so where and how you're seeing companies be successful, I mean, I'm sure people would be interested in hearing your thoughts.
Yeah. So, I mean, 3 years ago at Google Cloud Next, we had a list because it's the number one question we get asked. How are other companies using generative AI to create impact in their own organizations?
Yeah.
People want to hear that and they want to use that as inspiration. And so 3 years ago, we created a blog post that was 101 Gen AI use cases across Google Cloud customers. And there's just kind of statements of various use cases that they're attacking and a value statement as well, like what business impact is it? Today, we've announced the blog post is 1,302.
Oh, geez.
So what you find though, when you kind of scan this, is that it's practically everything across the business. And for each company, it's unique. What are their business processes? What is core to their business? And then how do we do it? But if we were to kind of bucket, what are the two main use cases? I would say it would be AI for employees, which is delivered through our Gemini Enterprise app. And that's just helping employees be more productive. In fact, that's evolving a bit to say, how do we create collaborative spaces? We announced something called Gemini Enterprise Projects, a collaborative space where humans can work together with their files. They can invite in AI agents to collaborate together and have a collaborative workspace together. So that first bucket would be, how do we help employees be more productive? The second is where we work a lot with T-Tech because of how great these models are at having conversations, human-like conversations. We've created the Gemini Live. We announced that new model. It's very human-like, low latency, audio models. So we see a lot of use cases in how do we create agents to interact with our customers,
Right.
give them better service, better support, or now shopping. Like one of my favorite examples that we announced at Next was the shopping agent on Macy's.com.
Yeah.
So anyone can go to that today. You'll see a button called Ask Macy's, and you can get kind of a private shopping concierge experience and have a natural conversation like you're talking to someone in the department store.
Yeah.
And say something like, the prompt I always uses, I'm going on a vacation this summer to Lake Como. It's like an outfit. And then it will ask you more questions. Well, what gender are you? And then it will present to you a full outfit. And you can pick all these things. The business value there that they told us was that the average order value or the shopping cart of people who use the shopping assistant versus just kind of clicking around their website is 400% higher.
Wow. I mean, that's immediate value. That's game changing, actually.
That's right. So we see the shopping agent. We see AI helping generate revenue, but we also see it helping take cost out of the business, and then it's helping employees become productive. So the business impact is all over.
Yeah, it's significant. So when you think about because there's I guess my thoughts are going in two different places. One is there's a lot of options. You guys have a solution across multiple different lines of business in the organization. Different use cases can be applied. So I have had conversations with people around I don't know if it's a stagnation or this, everything's moving so fast. Like, do I just wait a year to see how see where the leaves fall, and then we'll make a decision on what we're going to go into. So that's one part of where my head's at. The other part is also like, it's a significant change management, because it's not necessarily about being an AI expert per se. Like in the past, you'd have to have a whole office of developers to go build an application or go automate processes. Now we're talking about these tools you can deploy them rapidly, but you still have to have the analysis skills to be able to go in and understand, all right, what are the right things to automate? What do I not automate because the cost justification's not there? So I don't know if there's a question in there or not, but more just a statement. But I'd love to kind of go down that path for a second.
Yeah, I think there was two questions in there, and I'll take the first one, where you talked about how there's just so much AI. If you're a CIO, CTO, head of AI, CEO, everyone is talking to you about their AI solution, how it's going to change the game. And so there's certainly a lot of market confusion. Yeah. And we've seen this with every technological revolution. There's so much money being poured into this space, whether it's from private markets and venture capital or the hyperscalers themselves to the partner ecosystem, system integrators. And the messaging, it's diluted. It's easy to throw up your hands and say, this is all hype and there's nothing happening here. And to just take a stance of, I'll wait and see. I think that's the wrong approach. I've always thought that's the wrong approach. In my mind, this revolution, this is different than even prior ones. I think I read that the amount of investment going specifically into AI, the AI stack, now represents over 1% of GDP.
Jeez.
And you see it with the CapEx. I mean, we're about to see a bunch of earnings this week, including ours today, as well as Amazon. And every quarter, the CapEx is being increased by these companies. Yeah. We're seeing capacity constrained. So the usage is 100% there. And we cannot put out enough chips to handle what's happening. And so as a buyer, or someone looking to bring this into the organization, it is difficult. It is a complex set of, they have their existing vendors. Many of them are coming to Google for the first time. We're having conversations with customers or accounts and companies that never really talked to us before, but they see the leadership that we have in the space and they want to know, what does Google think? In fact, I was in executive briefing. We have these with our customers, with executives at our headquarters. I was in one just a couple weeks ago, and we spent 2 days together with a whole team of leaders. And at the end, we had a session, just can we reflect on these last 2 days?
Yeah.
So uncomfortable conversations about the future and transformation and change. And one of the executives said to us, they said, we normally wouldn't spend 2 days with Google.
Yeah.
We would spend 2 days talking about these types of things and strategy with our partners like McKinsey or Boston Consulting Group.
Right.
But we didn't go talk to them for 2 days. We wanted to talk to Google because you all are building this. You are the leaders in AI and you understand where this is going. And that stuck with me. That even the McKinseys haven't necessarily caught up to understand what's going forward, what's
Sure.
happening and how things are going forward. So I think there's that whole thing. And then to your second part of your question, you asked, how should people think about adoption?
Right.
And everyone wants a framework. Everyone wants a pathway that's prescriptive, a blueprint, but it's being written as we go. And so my advice when I talk to executives or even just people, my friends, people within the community who ask me about how should I think about AI and using it. And the answer is it's pretty simple. You just have to start using it. People it's a process of self-discovery in my mind. And the place to start is first ensure that your employees have tooling and can use it. I see a lot of companies just blocking, or just providing kind of subpar tools. I'm not meaning to take a dig at Copilot, but that's where most companies have started. We'll just bolt this on. But people are having experiences in their personal lives where they're using AI. And if you don't give them tooling that is good as they use in their personal lives, they're just going to be using AI in an unsanctioned, unauthorized way that puts companies at risk. So I always say the first step, people hate to hear it, is you need to buy some tooling and give employees access to this. Then it's a process of identifying champions. Every organization has people who love AI. There's like that adoption curve. There's the early adopters like you and me. Okay. Yeah. Then there's going to be that middle ground. It's like, I need these people to tell me how to use it. And then there's going to be a group of people who are just like, I don't need this. I didn't have it before. Why do I need it now? So you need to find those early adopters, turn them into champions, and kind of the way I put it is in each department, there's going to be a couple people that are passionate. Every AI leader that I talk to knows exactly who they are because they're very annoying to the AI leader about give me access to this or that. I want to try these things out. And then that's really how it starts to grow. It sounds simple, but that's what I see happening. The ones who started a couple years ago, they now have very mature AI. The ones who are just getting started now that are kind of reticent or hesitant to move into the space, they're going to have a tougher time because they're not gaining the advantage that these other companies are.
I completely agree with you. It's interesting, even just on T-Tech's own journey. I'd say it was probably about 6 months ago, we launched, we call it Launch AI, but launched an effort inside the business to start forcing communities of people to talk about AI, start surfacing use cases, even just telling stories of like, here's how I'm using it in my personal life. Here's where I think we could do it inside the business. And it really started at one level of, let's identify these early adopters through conversations, who's participating. Let's start generating some ideas. We had some concerns, initially of, is this going to be unproductive in that people are focusing more on trying to figure out what they can do with AI instead of just doing their normal work. What we have seen though, like the result of it is significant productivity increases where we had bottleneck processes that have been fixed, or we have been able to enable, even like from a delivery side, our teams have gone in and re-looked at the entire delivery concept that we use when it goes into deploying the most basic conversational agents, and leveraging tools like anti-gravity so that you've got agents working on building agents, automating stuff where it might have taken a week to go through a testing process and we're down to hours, right? And so the value gets passed along to both. It's a scale standpoint, we can do more, but at the same time, the cost of adoption is cheaper. Like there's still a hurdle for this stuff does cost money to go in and both use and to deploy and get it stood up. But I think that cost is actually coming down, which that'll be interesting in the market on how that plays out. But it's definitely much more approachable than it was even 6 months ago.
Yeah. I mean, the deflationary cost of a token is, we've never seen anything like it.
Yeah.
However, everyone wants the absolute latest models because they want the most intelligence, because it does make them productive. Yeah, I mean, the level of experimentation that you can do here is so fast and so quick that you should be experimenting.
Oh yeah.
If something doesn't work, you can quickly iterate and find something that does work, and that's kind of actually what we're doing with you talked about the Gemini Enterprise Agent Platform, which is kind of, let's say that's for IT. That's for all the control and visibility, monitoring, governing that is required, so it doesn't get out of control. But with the Gemini Enterprise app, which is kind of the harness that is purpose-built for the worker, this is, you've got the consumer harnesses that everyone knows. The ChatGPT is just Gemini from Google. Gemini Enterprise, which is the harness for workers, is really about how do we make workers more productive. And one of the tools we have in there is called Agent Designer.
Okay.
So you talked about anti-gravity and coding, developer use case. Developers are obviously very, very productive with it.
Yeah.
I tell leaders, give them everything they want. They want, they're expensive, right? And they can do so much more with code, and it's just so clear that you don't have to question it. But for the average worker, that's where Gemini Enterprise comes in. And when you can use natural language to create an agent, that is magic. Because I tell the folks that I'm working with, I'm like, you don't know what Joe in accounting needs, or Sally in legal. Like you think you might, but when's the last time you talked to your IT department?
Right. Never.
I don't talk to my IT department. So IT is trying to find these use cases, but really just put the tools in their hands, let them create their own agents. And what we're seeing happen is once someone in the procurement group builds an agent for themselves that helps them automate a part of their work, then they can share it. So they'll end up sharing it with their teams. And it kind of creates this flywheel of productivity, because those, kind of like I was talking about earlier, those champions, or those early adopters, they're building these things and they're finding ways to make themselves more productive, and then that scales throughout the organization. So that's one way that I see kind of agents diffusing through companies.
Totally makes sense. I definitely think this, the whole registry idea that you are, product feature that you guys are rolling out is awesome, because we've already seen the need to go in and create like agent hubs within an organization, within T-Tech, where you've got multiple agents out there, but you got to pull it together so people, one, they know that it exists, so that there is guardrails and security around it. And we're making sure that it's not just rogue agents out there running around, inside the company. But it really is that surfacing the visibility to it so that people can go take advantage of it and they know where to find it. And you start crossing over lines of business, crossing over these different groups. So.
Yes, it's almost like they're starting to become, every company will have an agent app store.
Yeah.
Like I have a team of agents that have been built for me, built by me, and built by my teammates. And I always say there isn't necessarily like a killer use case. I think a lot of customers I talk to is give me that one use case that will justify everything. But it's really the cumulative effect of many, many things that just make us more productive and help us get things done much better than we could hope for. Yeah. And once people have it, they're never going back.
No.
I've never had a customer go, I'd like, where's the return policy on this? Once you go there, it becomes very clear. that this is the future of work.
Yeah, absolutely. Paul, this has been fantastic. I can't thank you enough. You've been a great partner over the last several years. And I think that you've clearly demonstrated like where you're at within the maturity of this kind of revolution that we're all going through. So I'm sure somebody's going to reach out and want to have a conversation with you, kind of pick your brain more, but we'll definitely have to do this again. So thank you. I really appreciate it.
Appreciate it, Caleb. And thank you for being a great partner, particularly around our GECX stack. TTech is most definitely our go-to for Gemini Enterprise for CX. That's the engaging with customers, and we'll continue to call you.
That's awesome, man. Thank you. All right, we'll talk soon.
Thanks, Caleb.